long time, there's a big gap between when a arrest happens and when you finally get into felony court. And a lot of things happen in that time. The guy becomes the nicest human being on earth. Oh baby, I didn't mean it. It was all my fault, I'm sorry. And then they become the nicest person, charges go away, and it gets worse. And you see this stair step that goes progressively to the abuse is intolerable, and you can't really comprehend what's going on just as a regular person who's not suffering for that. As a felony prosecutor, it's difficult to deal with those victims because once it's time for trial, they're often at that great point where the guy's the nicest person ever. Imagine like George Clooney with a yacht and just making you feel like I don't know, I'm guessing George Clooney's still attractive, but the nicest person ever. And then the charges get dropped, but the victim won't come to testify, and it gets worse. Now you have two impacts on that. One, obviously for the victims, things get significantly worse after. And two, there's an impact on the court system. Now what I've done in the course of my career is we've done everything possible. We have great resources in this community to try to partner and provide resources, as Chief said, to those victims, to let them have an opportunity to get out. That's not always the easiest thing to do. So we have to be persistent in what we do. We can't give up. Even though it may seem to us on the outside of that relationship like that person's given up on themselves. How could they stay with her or him? But we can't give up because what's at stake is obviously that victim who's being abused. If there's children in the community, as you in the household, as you stated, those consequences, studies have demonstrated, those consequences to those kids are lifelong. A child who lives in a home where domestic violence exists is more likely to suffer not from just mental illness, but also other illnesses. Cancers, higher rate. Cardiovascular illness, higher rate of subsequent to the next generation domestic violence. I want you guys, last thing on our part arm is if you know somebody who's in a tough place, support them. If you know somebody who's being abused, love them even though it doesn't look like they're loving themselves. If you're not in that situation and you are blessed, we've got folks here that need your support. Family Crisis, who's really doing an outstanding job right now supporting victims of domestic violence, they could use your support. Communicare can always use your support. Oxford PD, I love these guys. They can always use your support. Thank you.